Welcome to the Bold Moves How Did You Know? Where Are They Now edition. In this series, I'm following up with former guests to hear where their bold moves have taken them since our last conversation. If there's anything I know about bold movers, it's that they're always on the move, creating new opportunities for themselves in the direction of their goals and dreams. And today I'm checking in with Matt Cross. You might remember him from episode number 27 of the Bold Moves How Did You Know podcast. He's the co-founder of Harvest Chocolate. And how could we all forget somebody who runs a real life chocolate factory? He came on the podcast to talk all about building his chocolatey business. The episode is titled Building a Chocolate Factory with Matt Cross. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that one yet, I will link it in the show notes for you. But today we're doing a follow-up, a check-in to see where Matt has been over the last year. So hello, Matt. It's so great to see you and welcome back to the show.
Hi, Kristen. Yeah, thank you for having me back. It's exciting to see you again too.
I know. I love these catch-up conversations because, like I said, so much can happen in a year for people who are like bold moving and shaking. So many different updates, challenges, etc. So I'm excited for our conversation today. It's been almost a year that we first spoke, or actually the interview aired on March 27th. And so at that time, Harvest Chocolate had been open for 3 years with your wife at the helm. And then you personally joined the business. You were in 6 months at that point when we had talked. And you said that your boldest move with Harvest Chocolate was taking people into the future to make new memories, which was such an interesting take on that question. But I think it came from the perspective that your town is a really historic town. I think you mentioned that there have been buildings there for 175 years, and people really grasp onto that nostalgia of the historical nature of the town. So let's get an update. How is everything going? And you had also just transitioned into a new space. So what's been going on?
Yeah, a lot has been happening in the last year. I think when I talked with you, I had just signed the lease, a 5-year
Yeah.
lease, and we were sitting in an empty building. And so we filled the space. It smells like chocolate in there.
Oh,
It's wonderful. And I forgot that I said that bringing people into new memories, but I think we've been doing that. Like we have
yeah.
a chocolate bar, I like to call it. We have hot chocolate and we do chocolate tastings and flights. And so I think what's been really fun is people just come in there and they have a really good time just doing something new and something different. And there was a lot of times we get parents and kids that come in and just like get a hot chocolate and the kids are just like beaming. They think it's the best thing. And so I think we're doing that new memories. We're building new memories. So that's fun.
That's such a great way also to think about doing anything new is building new memories for yourself and also your customers.
Yeah.
And like inventing all of these new experiences that people can have with your brand. I bet that's been really rewarding. How does it feel when you see customers sitting at your chocolate bar enjoying a hot chocolate or a piece of chocolate?
It's nice. It's something just happy and fun that they can do and kind of carefree and like I kind of like that there's no alcohol. Like a lot of times people hang out at bars and in restaurants where they're drinking and there's just, it's just chocolate. The vice here is chocolate.
I love that. Let's remind listeners too, you're based, okay, tell me again. I don't want to get it wrong. You're based in Michigan in a town that starts with a T.
Yeah. Tecumseh, Michigan. So
That's right.
we're in Southeast Michigan. So we're about an hour from Detroit and about 45 minutes south of Ann Arbor. And so it's a small town that's been there. We just had our 200th year bicentennial last summer. So been there for a while, and it's an interesting little town in that it's kind of booming with small businesses, and the downtown is really cute. And so there's a lot of people that they come and just walk around and have a day, and so chocolate fits right into that.
Oh, heck yes. Actually, when I was recently in Spain, I was in Spain over the holiday in Barcelona, and cava wine is one of the more popular types of wine in that region. So we took a day trip. It's about a 45-minute train ride where there's all of these cava wineries. And so we went to one of these wineries and spent the day on a winery, just touring the farm, learning more about their process, the vineyard, tasting wine, of course, with Homon Iberico, which is like mouth watering him, right? So that experience is something that people love. And there's a chocolate factory in that town. And I got so excited when I saw this. My husband mentioned, "Oh, Krista, did you know there's a chocolate factory in this town as well?" And so we made it a point to stop by, like a destination to stop by, go into the shop, taste a little bit of their chocolate, see the experience. So I know that like people love to do stuff like this when it can be an experience, and especially when it's chocolate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that you've been in the business for a year and a half, running it as the co-founder with your wife, what have you learned? What more things have you learned about being a business owner? And what are some of the most recent bold moves you've been making?
I think probably the biggest and the bold move area is like just really being true to who you are and what you want to do. Like back to that, like creating new memories is like you have to lead people to where you know you're going. There's everybody has an experience with chocolate. Everyone has their favorite chocolate thing. It's available by pretty much anywhere there's a cash register in America. There's
Yeah,
chocolate sitting
right.
next to it. Like, so everyone already has these preconceived notions, but they don't have the idea that people make chocolate. Like they don't really connect where it comes from. And so they want you to do kind of what's in their head because they don't know where you're going. So the hard thing I'd say in the first 6 months after when we opened the storefront is just being like, no, we don't do that. Saying no and leading people to where we knew we wanted to take them. And now at this point, now we have like really loyal customers. We have people that like, you know, they're not going to go eat. They don't really eat other chocolate. They love what we do. And so I think you got to kind of you have to listen to feedback and you have to listen to what people are saying, but you also have to have a very strong filter with what you know you're doing and where you're going. And it takes a little while, but it pays off eventually.
You just triggered my content marketing strategic brain because as you're saying that, there's this formula I have for the perfect content strategy, and it's the center point of what your brand is, so who you are, with what your audience needs are and what your competitive differentiation is. And so when you can find that sweet spot, that's where I coach my clients around where their ideal content strategy lives. And it's interesting. I mean, it really does apply to business as well, right? It's like you you want to be directed in many ways by your customers because you want them to buy from you. You want them to become customers for life. And at the same time, you have started a business because you believe something special that's not being done in the market at the moment.
Yeah.
And so it's finding that really interesting intersection between who you are as a brand and what your audience wants. How do you know when to listen to your customers versus when to stick to who you believe you are and that you do this better?
That's just kind of like with a small business like us, it's just the two of us. And so it's like a
Mhm.
gut feeling, like, no, we're not doing that. Or, yeah, that's a good idea. They're right. I think it
Yeah,
just that becomes kind of like it's the thing that makes the who you are and your skill
yeah.
set is what does that. I think
Is
I
it?
I don't
Is
think
it?
there's any really good way to put it other than just like you got to be in there doing it, and that's it. I guess that's what we do. I,
Yeah.
I know I've seen some business owners who try to not be involved, and
Mhm.
that I think then becomes a lot harder to have
Mhm.
like a strong brand in that, especially in a startup. time because you don't know that, right? Like you're not in there, you don't feel it. And so like I said, it just kind of cuts down, comes down to feel, and that's what makes your business or what you're doing special is because you are doing it and you know, and you're taking it in that direction.
I think that's excellent answer. Sometimes business decisions aren't always guided by metrics and numbers. Sometimes you have to just make gut decisions and go with it because you feel like this is right for the brand. This is right for your customers. And then you know what? Like you experiment and hopefully it works out. And if it doesn't, you can always pull back and change directions. But I think those gut feelings typically do lead you in the right direction. Do you have like an ideas parking lot? So I do this for a lot of my clients because the ideas can be overwhelming. And I'm sure that you get ideas from customers all day long, every day about what you should be doing in your business. How do you keep track of all of the ideas and how to prioritize them?
We probably both have a running list in our head of like 500 to 1,000 things that you'd like to do. We have a notes. We use a lot of notes like on our phones of here's a list of these things. And I think in the size of the business that we're in is that like you really feel the pain of something that you need to be doing. Like, like an equipment upgrade is just like, okay, I'm sick of this. This is way harder than it needs to be. And I know that there's equipment that will do this better. And I can just, you know, do that or something like that. Something that's far more time consuming that has an obvious answer, I guess, is kind of what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. But in terms of like what to make, everybody's got an idea of what their favorite chocolate thing is to make, and so we don't always listen to that a lot. Depends on how it is, and then we kind of
Yeah.
filter it through and make it the way that we know how to best. It just comes back to that skill set and your experiences in what you're doing.
Looking forward, what's next for Harvest Chocolate?
So we're working on that right now, what the next is going to be.
Mhm.
Figuring it out. We're kind of in this cocoa bean prices have skyrocketed. They're like
Mm,
2 to 3 times more than what they were last year. So we're kind of figuring out how to navigate that. I guess we hadn't
mm,
planned for that in this bold
mhm,
move, and making a bold move
mm.
is you don't know everything that you don't know until it happens.
Until it happens, for sure.
So we're doing that's what I'm working on right now is kind of numbers and where kind of just financially maybe our best
Mhm.
moves are for this year. But we're doing a lot more events is already on the plan.
Okay.
Chocolate tastings are really popular, so we're ramping up that, having more chocolate tastings in our shop. It smells like chocolate in there. It's delicious, and you get to just hang out for a little while and eat chocolate and learn about chocolate and just get full of chocolate.
Has there been anything that surprised you about the business over the last year that you're taking forward into the next year that you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that before this started happening," and now it feels like, "Oh, that's such a great place to keep going."
I think we inherited ice cream space that it's
Mhm.
been chocolate or ice cream in the space for like the last like 40 years. And that's kind of where
Okay.
we're getting at with that. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people come in and they have the memories of this place that was there like in the 90s. Um,
Okay.
and so it had been a couple of businesses in between, but they all had ice cream. And so we just decided to keep ice cream in the shop because we love ice cream and we didn't really know how it was going to play out, but it's just fun. People love ice
Mhm.
cream and we just keep it really simple, but it brings people in. From the beginning, I probably would have said no, no way, we don't want to do
Mhm.
ice cream.
Mhm.
But,
Mhm.
it just brings people in off the street, like, it gets them to walk in, and then they learn
Yeah.
about us, we talk with them, they smell the chocolate, they look around,
Yeah.
and then they just keep coming back, so it's like the surprising thing that
Mm.
I didn't think was such a important, like, customer
Yeah.
acquisition strategy, if you will, was ice cream.
Now that you've had another year of hindsight and maybe be a little bit better predictor of foresight. But for somebody who is considering taking their own bold leap, making their own bold move, what advice would you have for them today, knowing what you know now?
Do it, definitely do it, at least whatever is comfortable for you, and it doesn't have to be that you make the big giant step right away. Maybe it's just a small step and
Yeah.
you keep moving in that direction. And then just prepare for the unexpected when you do take that
Mhm.
bold move. A few years ago, somebody said to me, I was talking to a banker about a loan, and
Yeah.
he was like, just write down everything you think that could go wrong and think about that and how you would like handle that. And I think it's not terrible advice of just, prepare for all the bad things that you think might be able to happen at least and have that.
Yeah, it made me think about the fact that, like, sometimes we don't know what we don't know. As you said before, like, you could never know that ice cream was gonna be such a great experience for your customers, and now you do today. So you do get a lot in hindsight. But I wonder, and as you said, like, talking to other people about what did they not know before that they now know today to help you as a new doing your new thing, anticipate some of those other things that you would have known could be really helpful advice, I think. Can we remind listeners where they can connect with you to get their hands on some delicious bean to bar chocolate, Matt?
Yeah, harvestcraftchocolate.com. We ship all across the United States. So if you're not in Tecumseh, Michigan, then that's okay. We're on Facebook, Instagram. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And if you're in Southeast Michigan, come in and say hi. It's just my wife and I in the shop. So those are kind of my office hours. If you want to come talk to me, I'm there. I'm available to talk. You don't need to schedule anything. And come in and have some chocolate and have a chocolate flight. And it's a good time.
I still need to plan my trip. Thank you for joining me again, Matt, on this Where Are They Now episode of the Bold Moves How Did You Know podcast. And I am so grateful that you rejoined me today so we can reunite on everything bold in your life. To everybody else, thank you for taking the time to listen, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.